Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This match is going to be between Select and Dimaga. We have Select starting the bottom left-hand corner as the blue Terran. Up right-hand corner we have Dimaga as the red Zerg. This is on Delta Quadrant. I hope you guys like the intro. Give lots of comments on that. This is going to be my official logo. I'm going to put some more logos out here that people produced for me. I know if you produced a banner, special thanks. Dimaga gets the prize though. He's an awesome graphics maker, is he not? That's the one I really like. That's the one I'm going to go with. Sorry if you guys are like, no, it's ugly, blah, blah, blah. No, going with that one. Sorry. Also, thanks to Goober for the audience voice again. Special thanks to Goober for providing the piano audio in both the intro and the outro, because he was like, no, I don't want to do it. It's too hard. It's my Goober voice, I guess. It should be more high-pitched, I think. But anyway, I just visualize it as high-pitched, not that I've actually met him in real life. And also special thanks to Checkers at Work for providing all the graphics work. So special thanks, very special thanks, Goober, Dimaga, Checker at Work. A lot of help made it all of this possible. It's awesome. So, and otherwise, special thanks to Luke, and big shout out to everyone who's Polish getting me this replay. Here's going to be a good one, and while I'm at it, I know it's just like big line of commentary and I'll probably get the complaints. Looks like we are seeing Dimaga put down that extractor. It looks like he's going to go for spawning pool first. Front door blockade by Select, and I actually haven't done a commentary, I don't think, on Delta Quadrant yet. I did it at the Green Forest Cafe, but really haven't done one otherwise, and it looks like right off the bat Select is grabbing a gas, but happy birthday to Woogie. Kind of like Boogie Woogie, which I believe is the proper pronunciation. And also Stephen Thomas, Robert Hutton, Justin Washer, Paul McKinley, and David Chung. That is all the announcements. They were donators, and I am razor thin close to the graphics card, at which point you guys won't have to listen to me whine or beg about it again. At least not for a while, not until they're like, Blizzard's like, StarCraft 2 requires 9 graphics cards now. And that's my Blizzard voice, I guess. I should make it more like loving and like, well, or maybe... I'm kind of half debating whether to make it more like lovingly and like, oh, you're going to need more graphics cards, or more like evil sort of slave master driving sort of thing. Where it's like, more graphics cards, mahaha, buy our video games because they're always so awesome. Where it's kind of like I almost want to say dominatrix sort of weird thing, big hefty guy though, because that's just how Blizzard is, aren't they? Just a big awesome corporation. That's the thing, he's awesome and buff, but at the same time he's just abusing me. Looks like Select is opening up with a factory. I would not be surprised to see a reactor alongside as well. Maybe just one Hellion. Okay, there's a tech lab actually to start with the factory. I'm kind of curious what tech he's going to pull out from this. Looks like we've now seen an outside expansion from Dimaga rather than an inside expansion, because you have to take down the destructible rocks, which takes absolutely forever. I actually want to see this match without the destructible, or this map without the destructible rocks. I think that would make it really interesting. And I feel like this is almost like 4-player Loki 2 for the people who remember StarCraft way back in the day. Yes, StarCraft. Except, yeah, 4-player Loki 2, except destructible rocks and different, which doesn't help at all. I really feel like mid-game Hellions are extremely strong because there's a lot of territory where they can sneak in. They've got a lot of mobility, and I really feel like you need those really fast mobile units into the mid-game to really help. And I take it back, he actually is going Hellions here, but very cleverly, knowing how powerful those Hellions can be, he's going to get the Infernal Pre-Igniter upgrade. And that's I like that, actually. I think that's a really clever build decision from Select, because he knows essentially that even well into the mid-game, he's very likely going to still be using Hellions. So might as well get that upgrade, then switch to a reactor perhaps later in the match. And I like the persistent scouting by Dimaga. I actually should throw up something for you. Not throw up, but you know what I mean. And it looks like we're also seeing Siege Tech upgraded immediately after. No, canceling the Pre-Igniter, deciding to go Siege Tech, because perhaps that Hellion was scouted, or maybe that was just a misclick altogether, and what went from what I thought would be really clever, actually switching it out and deciding to do something completely different. And I don't know what kind of precipitated that decision. Maybe just the lack of Zerglings on the front door, feeling like he wouldn't be able to push in, maybe a little bit of ambivalence, but instead planting that command center is going to try to get a siege tank, needs to lift that supply depot up. Looks like the Zerglings managed to kill that Hellion in an open field, and sorry for missing that fight. I just expected it not to really go anywhere. So I think they got the speed upgrade is what happened there. Yeah, speed upgrade kicked in. They were able to do some surrounding. So it's Dimaga with some very solid defense, and this is very dangerous territory for Select. Because yes, he's going to be able to take this outside natural expansion, or I should say, I guess I'll call it the inner expansion, with the destructible rocks with those siege tanks. And actually, one thing I like, what sometimes Zerg players will do is they'll run up with Zerglings and just harass this front door. Now more Hellions coming as well, and just I don't know, I feel like there's some lost time for Select. And a couple now the Hellions moving out in the field to try to get a little bit of harassment. Dimaga very aware of that kind of weakness into taking this expansion. So already spreading the creep, which is critical for that speed, also has that spine crawler to provide a little bit of defense. And it looks like they're just kind of checking out the various expansions. Hatchery upgrading to lair should be there fairly quickly, and also some banelings being produced. So lair plus banelings, which leads me to believe we are going to see Muta baneling into the mid game. Basically some abusive mobility. Looks like Select now taking that down the destructible rocks, and that's again why I like more of the, and it looks like the answer to this for Select is Thors, but that's again why I like the Hellions, because those Hellions can help pin those Mutalisks back, still dance around them, still provide a bit of timing. You do have to watch out for the Banelings, obviously, but it helps deal a little bit with the Banelings just with the splash damage when you get, not that that's a direct counter, and I know that's extremely difficult to micro. A lot of people think, oh, Banelings, teeny units, so be able to destroy things easily. No, not the case. But looks like going anti-Mutalisk here, so Select Engineering Bay also has the Armory, and now has that natural expansion running, but he's already economically behind with just the 2 bases, and he's going to basically Dimaga completely uncontested. He's going to take this open natural expansion along the back edge. Already an Overlord sitting there, might get hit by that missile turret, but turrets being built as well, and it's kind of one of those things where I feel like turrets versus Protoss are good, because you're more or less, if they're throwing out Dark Templar, you're saving money anyway. But turrets versus Zerg, particularly when you're not sure how many Mutalisks they're committing, especially if you're overcommitting, can be bad. And this is the reason it looks like Dimaga is taking additional gas, some extractors along the corner, but he's gone Baneling Nest. He does have some Banelings out in the field, but it does not, I don't see a Mutalisk down, and it looks like he's not in fact deciding to go Mutalisk tech, and he's kind of playing against the grain right here, instead deciding to play a longer tech match. And as you can see, the tech of Select being slowed down dramatically because he's having to put down missile turrets. He's going Thors, which are not very mobile, although these are very, very good units against Banelings, but going much more slower, much more upgrade heavy. These Zerglings actually in large numbers could help take care of this, try and engage that Hellion. But yeah, just going for a longer game, looking for a macro victory, and just forcing Select, saying, okay, you sit in your base, I'm going to sit in mine, and I can produce a lot more drones a lot more rapidly. And we can already see a huge harvester count. And that was perfect timing actually to see that harvester count jump for Dimaga. Dimaga actually putting up some evolution chambers and infestation pit. And I wouldn't be surprised if he just decided to skip straight to hive tech across the board, feeling like, okay, I'm not needing, I don't need to absorb any attacks here. My opponent is staying pinned back in his base. He's with a very slow unit composition that, and probably I hope he's seeing it on the corner here. Looks like he does have an Overseer that I assume ran in and just splatted things everywhere. He has a very slow unit composition to come across the map. It's he can see it coming, and he can just start building a ton of units when he needs to. Either a lot of heavy roaches, maybe get the infestors pumping, maybe get the Roach Burrow. I love seeing the Roach Burrow to help deal against that big mech attack. And he's also done a fantastic job of denying information, also denying the positioning of these Hellions in the mid game. Yeah, definitely solidly in the mid game. Like, wait a minute, are we in the mid game, or would this be considered the late game at this stage? It's always kind of a toss-up, I would say, right there. Overseer infesting the barracks, going to slow a little bit of that economy down, but getting a peek in there, seeing the Thor count specifically, seeing some siege tanks as well. But so he knows he's going up against a more heavily mixed army. Another command center being built. It's going to try to float out here, take this expansion. And I think Dimaga's really happy to let that happen. He really doesn't care because he's already got this gold expansion set up. He's one expansion ahead, and he's well ahead in the straight harvester count. So as long as he keeps up with this, the one other trick will just be upgrades. And he definitely needs to keep up with upgrades. It's going to be difficult with just a single evolution chamber. Looks like, I think he's already behind actually. Let's click a single Zergling. Looks like 0-0, yeah, and he's already going up against level 1 weapon upgraded across the board Marines. But again, as long as Select decides to keep playing this longer, slower macro style, the income should be much in Dimaga's favor, particularly with this gold expansion just going up, because you can see just as Select is starting to even things out, or I'm sorry, yeah, just as he's starting to even things out, Dimaga is taking a big lead in harvesters and also taking a big lead as far as just a flat gold whatever. And what this is really going to accumulate to is huge army battles, just a big attack somewhere down the line, continue to produce infestation, infestation, and you get a look at the army count. And I think what we're going to see against this kind of heavy mech composition is banelings basically pinning the army back with banelings, roaches, and I believe fungal growth in the back corner. My throat's starting to bother me all of a sudden. I'm not sure what's up with this. Perhaps just because it's late in the day. Single Hellion running through, and also sorry if you heard like a big bump. And this is a big wake-up call for Select, seeing those gold minerals roll across the field, and perhaps he did see that. Let's see if that kind of causes him to mobilize and move out a bit. And oof, that Hellion absolutely getting crushed. Also seeing that infestation pit, seeing the Baneling as well. But Select has to have some indication that really that's the key thing he needed to check out. Now starting to check out some of those forward locations. He's got to start feeling uncomfortable here, realizing first of all how much creep is across the map. I mean, look at the creep coverage now by Dimaga. He's actually just sitting almost directly outside the base. He did manage to kill this creep tumor to cut it just about short, but the banelings, the zerglings, everything else actually drop. Wow. Okay, so Overlord's being loaded up, and this is scary. So this is almost machine style play. You're seeing Overlords with banelings that are just going to probably try to sit here and nuke this corner. And he can actually, without the turret coverage and without Thor's really kind of pinning along the corner, as long as they can sneak in really at this angle right here, it looks like they're just going to try to swing in from above. But even two banelings running in there, or even a single baneling getting a really good shot, there will be a nice situation. Looks like I'm going to have to, and this is a nice opportunity to do it as well. Select pushing out the field with only a portion of his army. Actually, I like that. Keeping the siege tanks behind, almost trying to bait an engagement. Looks like I missed the Baneling drop in the corner. A lot of these SCVs very, very hurt. And but I think, yeah, it looks like, oh, now I'm missing the big fight in the middle. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. I didn't even have time to come back to that. It was just a gigantic explosion. I don't do this often, but I'm going to rewind for you guys, because I want to see, and we'll fast forward a little bit too, because it'll be a bit. So let's take a good look. So faster, here's the banelings. It's nice that you can do this actually in the StarCraft thing. So I'll do this. Okay, faster. Gonna drop. Does he manage to get, okay, manages to get a couple kills, but let's watch the explosion that happens here in the middle of the map. Unbelievable. Okay, huge crashing down. First of all, the Zerglings actually doing a lot of splash damage to Thor themselves. And there go the Banelings. That army just gets annihilated. Actually, that just is almost like it's almost like matter and antimatter right there. That is a nuclear explosion. But really what it comes down to is Dimaga just had more meat out in the field. As Moletrap is fond of putting it, he just had more pure bulk out there to throw out there. And sorry if you didn't like the replay rewind, I just felt like that was worth it. And I know that does kind of disrupt things. But now Dimaga crashing down, perhaps getting a little bit too aggressive with the Zerglings and Mules, particularly with that Planetary Fortress. He needs to back off this attack, and just sit back and start pumping drones instead. It looks like he's actually fallen a little bit behind in the Harvester count, still way ahead in the economy count because of this gold expansion in his possession. But Select needs to start worrying. He just got rejected out in the field. He's got Overlord sitting outside of his base. Looks like some Marines going to try to take care of that momentarily. Where are the Banelings? Go Banelings. Very close nearby, and Select being a little bit too ambitious, and all it takes is two.